and I want to begin by condemning in the strongest possible terms the disgraceful attack on an IPAS centre in Drogheda last week. There shouldn't be any tolerance, and I know there isn't here whatsoever, for that type of aggression and attacks of that nature. And at this stage, most of us have seen the images. I think we've all been appalled of them. Images of an accelerant being poured before the fire was set. A fire that trapped children, including a small baby, in the upstairs of that building. And if it wasn't for the quick action of our local fire services, we could be talking about a very different situation here today. I would hope every community leader would send out the message that attacks on any community cannot and will not be accepted. That said, Minister, the Government have also, I think we have to acknowledge, made a mess of international protection system. And instead of action, we have performance in politics. I think there was another one today. We get announcements designed for headlines, but little or no action. We get commentary from the Taoiseach and the Taoiseach, who it seems have finally woken up to the reality that things are not rosy in our immigration system, but remain in denial as regard their own responsibilities. You'd swear there were commentators walking down the street, just giving their opinion, having spent years at the heart of government and have overseen the sorry state of the system. We get a small number of well-publicised deportation flights designed to capture press and give the impression of action, and that's the reality. That's what it's about, and I don't think it's appropriate. And when you actually look behind the curtain and you see what's really happening in reality, if you want to talk about deportation, then there was 2,403 deportation orders signed last year, but just 156 deportations confirmed. That's a problem. And how about this year? To mid-September 2025, the number of deportations confirmed is less than 10% in the number of orders signed. So for an immigration system to work, to have a proper managed system, for it to be truly fair to all involved, to economic migrants, asylum seekers and our citizens alike, the rules must be fair and, most importantly, they need to be enforced. And the failure of government that I have just described is not acceptable. Decisions are taken far too long, and there is not proper oversight when applications are refused. And that's not acceptable to people who are fleeing war and persecution. It's not acceptable also to those who are here, who are rejected, and they have families and they are building up networks and friends and so on and so forth. There has to be a proper system that is enforced, and one that is far speeded up. We now have 32,000 people in direct provision across the state, and as many have mentioned, no real strategy to deal with the high levels of arrivals. Instead, what we get is unchecked profiteering. Private operators springing up, offering any building that could get their hands on, humans being fleeing God knows what, and being shipped around in buses and handed over to operators with no checks. And you've rejected Sinn Féin's call time and time again for a full review in relation to this. The Controller and Auditor General has told you that there needs to be a root and branch review, and still we get no action from government. You're protecting a profit system that hurts those in the system and that ignores communities. Sinn Féin's position is clear that first and foremost deprived areas should not be used as location for IPAS accommodation centres. I've made the point before, Donegal is one of the most deprived counties in the island of Ireland. That's what the statistics tell us. We have the largest number of IPAS centres and individuals availing of that service in Donegal per head of population, and the largest number of Ukrainians as well. And that's a badly managed system. That's what that is about. That's the fruits of that. We've made it clear that government's approach isn't working, but you're refusing to listen. So you need to stop trying to blame others, and you need to start doing your own job. Thank you.